Joanna Angel is an award-winning adult film star, director, producer, best-selling author, entrepreneur, and CEO of the venerated adult studio Burning Angel Entertainment. She was inducted into AVN's Hall of Fame in 2016 and continues to make her mark on the adult industry and the world at large. Joanna Angel.
Good evening, everyone. Okay, my chapter is called One Last Gangbang. Okay. I might be addicted to pornography. I love everything about it. The engineered plot lines meeting the obvious sexual enthusiasm of the performers, and my own pervy voyeurism as I shout, "Fuck her harder," at the screen, while vigorously rubbing my own clit. I mean, I'm not like a person who has stacks of DVDs lying around and spends all of my time on a sticky air mattress or anything like that. I actually have a Tempur-Pedic foam mattress, but it's just as sticky. I've been producing and performing in porn for over 15 years now. Being a sexual performer turns me from a mundane, quasi-normal person into a bona fide superhero. Call me Pussy Girl. I'll stop crime by fucking every cock in sight until those evildoers are drained. By the age of 36, I've made almost every type of scene imaginable. Threesomes and foursomes and orgies and double penetration sex scenes. I've role-played as everything from a maid to a schoolgirl to a teacher, a zombie, a vampire, and every other monster imaginable. You could say that I've pretty much done it all. I fucked on desks in a fitted blazer and pleated pants, and then I drenched them in my own squirt. I fucked on circular beds, yes, they exist, in bikinis made of nothing but Swarovski crystals. I fucked on couches in striped knee socks, on love seats and lingerie, on sectionals with a pin-up pompadour in my hair and bright red lips. I've poured oil all over myself inside of inflatable swimming pools in the middle of living rooms for no reason. I've gotten down and dirty outside underneath a bridge that overlooks the Eiffel Tower and on a rock off the coast of Spain. I love every aspect of the sexual fantasy world that I've deliberately and literally inserted myself into. I'm like a John, hiring all the top-tier escorts in Vegas, making my wildest sexual fantasies come to life. Only I'm the sex worker and the John in one, sitting in the director's chair with a dick inside my ass. But my favorite scenes to shoot were always gangbangs. Gangbangs are absurdly hot. There's really no other way to describe them. It's not at all a natural human sex act, although it feels like a testament to the human spirit when a bunch of dudes who have no business shoving their dicks into the same pussy at the same time can do a serious and unbelievably sexy way. I get a rush thinking about all the many one-on-one scenarios for what seem like a few spectacular moments. I am the center of attention of these men's worlds, and their only goal is to ravish my body and make me quake with cinematic, intense orgasms. I am known, sometimes, to be a bit of a brat, and this is the only way. I am the literal center of attention. Plus, I love the challenge of it. Like how many times during a gangbang do I feel like I'm going to drown in a sea of dick? As if there are alternative waves of dicks and pulsating pleasure constantly crashing me all the time, and I can't even manage a breath. I love being taken for a ride. I love the thrill of losing complete control over my limbs and my senses. My reward at the end is being showered in an ocean of cum, and then going home and eating a very large pizza, filling up even more, feeling like such a good whore. Which is why, for my 37th birthday, I decided to organize the greatest gangbang ever filmed. I'd shot 2 gangbangs previously, and this was going to be my highest achievement because I was 37 years old, and this should be my very last gangbang I ever filmed. I mean, I've been doing this for 15 years already. I wanted this to make my previous gangbangs look like scenes from low-budget softcore nudie flicks on late-night cable. I wanted to be made into a screen warrior queen, crowned with semen on top of a throne of cocks. The monarchy clearly stable under my reign. So I got to work, getting my maximum gangbang together. I picked a day far enough in advance to make sure there was ample time to coordinate all the pieces of the penis puzzle together. A gangbang is like a symphony. Everything and everyone must work together in harmony. One minor chord could damage the flow and draw the line between seeing a person getting beautifully pounded by 5 large cocks and watching 5 men sit there and stressfully and unsuccessfully jerk off. It's like a rock band, but in your pussy. There's a front man leading the way, doing all the showy stuff. There's a lead guitarist doing all the solos and riffs in your asshole. There's a second guitarist supporting the lead, providing a rhythmic drive. A bass player who acts as the nice, non-egomaniacal glue to hold everyone together and keep things moving without stealing the spotlight. And a drummer anchors everything down, getting the least amount of credit for actually doing the most amount of work. A lot of women make the mistake that thinking that the perfect gangbang is a mix of 5 men you really want to fuck. But in actuality, the perfect gangbang is a mix of 5 men who can comfortably have their sweat dripping all over one another, their balls touching, their dicks coexisting in the same wet hole, while focusing on the main objective of the day, which is to fuck the person in the center in the most animalistic way possible. Yes! The first man I picked for my epic night of pleasure was a guy named Simon Holtz, a fellow industry veteran and a virtuoso of vagina stimulation. A bearded silver fox of Romanian-German descent, Simon is the type of guy Generation X housewives fantasize about while blowing their average-looking husbands. He's not only gorgeous, but he has a very zen personality. Nothing matters to him more than pleasure. When I called him up to ask if he'd be interested in participating in my gangbang, he said, "My darling Joanna, I'd be simply honored to fuck every inch of your body." And of course, for every calm and silver, you need a fiery gold, which is where Micah comes in. Micah is the flair man. Everything he does with his body carries a sheen of intensity. He's Latino. He's the perfect combination of Spanish and Colombian. His body is chiseled to perfection. His abs are gleaming with tan skin and triceps that could crack a walnut. His energy all the time is on. This guy won't stop until the job is done. I mean it. He would tire me out in his best way during the scene. And next was Nick. Nick was a kind-hearted guy from Canada. He's another guy who I worked on and off with for a long time, a good 10 years. I call him the boyfriend of the group. He's like such a sweetie. He has blonde hair and dimples, both on his face and his ass. He's like a boy. He's like a guy in a boy band if the member grew up and actually stayed hot. It felt oddly pure every time we fucked. He's sensual. He'll hold my head up in place when I'm getting fucked too hard, or he'll grab a pillow for my knees if I'm being dragged across the concrete while being deep-throated. You know, things like that. And then there's Bo. Bo is a really good Southern boy. And yeah, he has a delicious Southern drawl that makes East Coast girls fling their thongs. The first time I hired him, he showed up on set and he said, "Morning, gorgeous." And I thought he was a flirty neighbor from the house next door, until I saw his 9-inch cock, and then I knew he was in the right place. Last but not least, there's Johnny. Johnny is a sex soldier. He's solidly built with a tall, stoic face. He clearly and deliberately follows orders. If I tell him to suck my clit, he will. If I tell him to get behind me and rapidly fill a hole, there will be no hesitation. He's got a cock like a rifle, and he's ready to shoot it off when any commanding officer tells him. He mostly communicates with a series of grunts and moans. We really don't speak much at all, but that's fine with me. With 5 guys ready and willing, I just needed a location. My first gangbang was filmed in an alleyway on the wrong side of town. In that scenario, I played a schoolgirl who got lost on the way home. My second gangbang was in a brightly lit living room, where I wore neon lingerie without any real context to the scene, other than the fact that I was horny and there. So, for my third and final gangbang, I chose a dungeon, which is something seedy enough for my dark and depraved side, but with a large selection of clean and comfortable bondage furniture and things you care about at age 37, like running electricity and a shower.
Yeah.
It's basically like if a clean living room and a dirty alleyway had a baby. It's the perfect place for a horny, almost 37-year-old to get her rocks off. So now that I had a working group of 5 stallions, I booked the appropriate date to fuck every hole in my body. I had 2 camera guys, a photographer, a makeup artist, and a dungeon set up to my wildest specifications. I arrived at the dungeon a few hours before the shoot to get my makeup done. I sat in a chair. The lighting crew picked the perfect mix of eerie blues and reds to set the ambiance for the event. The lights had to be moody enough because, we were in a dungeon, but they still had to be bright enough to see all, the appropriate penetration going on. Experienced lighting guys in the industry had a very important challenge. I'd love to see a second key grip in Hollywood or whatever light a dungeon and a butthole at the same time. The guys arrived one by one, the older men arriving first, shaking each other's hands, getting ready to do some last-minute brush trims, while the younger ones came in with their personalities dominating the air around them. Johnny spritzed himself with cologne. Bo made some small talk about the pork ribs he'd been smoking all night, and Micah was doing some stretches. It's like a mix of men preparing for a battle and a romantic date mixed in one. After a few grueling hours of sitting patiently in a chair, getting my makeup done and not having sex, it was time to make my Cinderella-esque entrance to the stage. As I gracefully slid on a skin-tight latex dress, nothing says I'm ready for sex more than a dress that's made out of plastic. I walked into the center of the dungeon and I called everyone over. "Thank you very much for being with me today," I said. I gave a quick rundown of the shots, and I couldn't wait any longer. I had the honor of making the sound on the clapboard, and I shouted, "Action." I rubbed my clit. I fingered myself furiously. 1 finger, 2 fingers, 3 fingers, stabbing my own insides like I was trying to murder my pussy. I was breathing and moaning and grunting and transforming into a succubus waiting for Lucifer to give me my treat. And today, I had 5 devils all to myself. What did I do to be so lucky? I stuck a 4th finger inside of me and then smack! Micah smacked my arm away from my body. "You don't get to come from your hand today," he said. And he was right. I didn't sit in rush hour traffic and then go through 3 hours of hair and makeup and wardrobe to come from my own body part. I could do that on my own time, on my couch. My orgasm was destined to be achieved through multiple penetration. So let's get on with it, slut. I heard Micah shout in a commanding voice. "You will be fucked in every way we want, unless you give us the information you need." He slapped his cock against the side of my black executioner hood. "Will you tell us what we wish to know?" I wrote a really good plot that day. "Never!" I shouted, as loud as I could, my voice breathy from horniness and muffled slightly from the covering of my head. "Then we have no choice, men. We must fuck her." I removed the hood and I was suddenly faced with a tidal wave of orgasm, each man clamoring for some sort of penetration stroking privilege. I felt Simon's cock first sliding swiftly into my mouth, not even giving me a chance to breathe. His hands weaving into my hair with fierce control, he slid himself expertly down my throat. I moaned onto his desk. His dick! My God, yes, he shouted, pounding my mouth harder and harder. Bo slid underneath me and he was fingering my ass. Johnny positioned himself underneath me. Slowly but surely, he slid himself into my anus. I heard Simon say, "Make room." And oh no, Simon did not mean make room on the couch, even though it was very full with men that day. He meant make room in my asshole, while there was already a dick in my asshole.
Woo!
Yeah!
Oh yes, he meant double anal. I felt a second cock enter my behind. Yes, yes! This was double anal. I was completely stuffed like a glove. My body felt like it was doing everything it possibly could. It was literally and figuratively stretched to capacity. I couldn't believe my own ass. I was so proud of it. Cheerleaders were inside of it doing an epic victory dance. How long can I keep two cocks inside of me? I had no idea. I wanted to keep going, and I did. I got more and more turned on. My insides welcomed the two cocks, and it didn't even feel stretched anymore, like they were just supposed to be there all the time. Would one cock even be enough for me after this? I could feel the guys in my ass getting close to their own climaxes, the balls slapping against my ass cheeks, moving higher around the skin, and their dicks becoming touter. 5 cocks were around me, all ready to shower me with their hot jizz. Everybody clapped. I never felt so free. I did it. And well, let me just tell you something. This didn't really wind up being my last gangbang. 6 months later, I did another one. I told you, I have an addiction to pornography. In that later gangbang, I played a teacher who fucked all my students. If you remember, I told you in my first gangbang I played a schoolgirl. I've officially been in porn long enough to have come full circle, graduating from being a schoolgirl to a school teacher. Somewhere down the line, maybe I'll be a superintendent. Maybe after I die, I'll have a hallway named after me or something like that. It's my 40th birthday right around the corner. What kind of gangbang should I do next?
Yeah!